what are we going to do tonight? We're going to do something fun. It's called a bucket hat, and I have fallen in love with these. Aren't these cute? And they're easy to make. And so Terry's been asking for new hats and stuff. So he's got a new, he'll have, this one's mine. This is not his. He refuses to have the flowers. I don't blame him. So I'm making him one, and we're going to be making one for him tonight. And the pattern that I'm using is a free download. It's called the Free Bucket Hat, and it's in 5 sizes. It's from applegreencottage.com, and it's a free download, and they've got 5 different sizes. And your pattern would look like, the patterns look like this. So there's 5 sizes together. So I just highlighted the ones I wanted. I made the medium one for me, and it's a little on the small side. So just let that be known. You need to probably go up 1 size. So I'm making a large and an extra large for this set of stuff. So, but it's a free download. So, and in fact, she's got a lot of really cute free patterns. So she might be worth checking out. And it's applegreencottage.com. So but it's a nice pattern. So it was easy. You only had 2 pages you had to print out, which I like. And all of the sizes are on one. So how we get started with this, you only need about a ½ yard of fabric, of 2 different fabrics to make the hat. Probably can do even less than that. I think out of a ½ yard, you can make 2 hats. Or ½ yard each, you can make 2 hats. And what I've selected is some, I had leftover canvas. But I think you want to make one out of, you can make it out of like a quilter's cotton, but I think it'd be better out of something a little heavier, like some denim or twill, or one of the layers I think should be a little heavier, just because to me it would have more structure. And then you want to also use interfacing. I use 2 different, now according to the pattern you don't have to have interfacing, but so to get a nice structured hat, I used on the brim part, which is the bottom part, I used 2 interfacings. I used a cutaway stabilizer, fusible. And if you don't have fusible, you know what you do. You just glue it on because it's temporary. And on the lining side, I used no-show mesh fusible. But you could use Decabond or whatever. On the side of the hat, on the lining side, I just used the no-show mesh fusible. And I didn't put anything up into the crown of it. So you start out by taking your pieces. Let me get them. Okay, here are my pattern pieces. There's really only 3 pieces. There is the crown, there's the brim, and then there's the sides. So this is a multi-sized pattern, so I just drew around the pattern I happen to be choosing. Then I cut them out. Okay. You need about a ½ yard of the fabric for each of the lining as well as the hat fabric. So here's the crown already cut out, and for the crown I cut out 1 of the fabric, and I'm using canvas for this, and then 1 of the lining for the bucket. This is the brim here. So the pattern piece looks like this. So what I did was I just simply put 2 pieces together, cut 1 out, taped it together, and then I ended up with just 1 flat piece. And for this, you're going to cut out 2 of both the fabric and the lining for the hat, 2 pieces of it. And also the same thing for the brim, which is deeper. Okay, so, and also, because I want my brim to be a little firmer, I have cut out more interfacing. So this is the brim fabric, and it's a fusible interfacing, and this is just a lightweight one. And I also cut out a heavyweight one as well. And for the, that was for the, yeah. Now for the sides, I did cut out 1 piece of interfacing that would fit that I'm just going to attach to the lining. I didn't need 2 pieces for the brim. I just for the sides. I want the brim a little stiffer, so I added more interfacing. And I'm not adding any interfacing for the crown at all. Okay, on the crown piece, I'm going to mark all 4 quadrants, the front and the back and the sides. And I've just drawn them in here, but I'm also going to clip them, which is a little clip, less than 1/4 of an inch. And you want to use sharp scissors because I have marked this. You can just mark it with chalk, but problem with marking it with chalk is the fact that I'm using friction, which means the minute I hit this with an iron, those marks are going to go away. So I'm just going to clip them in. Okay, I'm going to do the same thing on the brim as well as the sides. And so for these pieces, I'm going to clip here and here. Of course, the 2 sides are going to be just, that's fine. That just goes, clip there and there. And here, I'm just clipping through. Well, don't want to clip through all layers, but I just want to clip here. Just little clips, okay, because we're going to be doing a whole lot more clipping. That's a temporary one for now. And the same thing with the brim. I'm going to be clipping those in. I'm going to fuse my interfacing to the pieces on the brim as well as the sides. On the interfacing for both the brim as well as the sides, I have cut my interfacing about 1/4 of an inch or 1/8 to 1/4 of an inch smaller on the sides. That way when I fuse it on, I don't have to worry about it getting stuck on my iron and also being moved over the edge of the seam so that you don't have an accurate seam. So to fuse this, I'm going to go ahead and fuse these now. Okay, I'm fusing my interfacing to the back of my lining pieces according to the manufacturer's instructions. So you want to read the instructions. And like this is inside, so I'm not worried about it getting caught anywhere. And then I'll just put this now on. You don't have to put interfacing on here if you are using a stiff enough fabric and you don't want it and you want it to be a little bit on the floppy side. You don't have to put anything in here if you've got a decent fabric. I'm using a quilter's cotton here on the inside lining. I'd like the sides to stand up a little bit, so I put that lightweight interfacing on the back of the lining pieces. And then this is the sides, but this is made out of canvas, so I don't need to add anything extra to that. I probably didn't even need to interface the lining. On the brim, same thing. On the lining side, I'm going to use the lightweight. And just fuse them on. Just fuse it to the back. Like that. On the canvas side, okay, because I want the brim of this to be fairly stiff, I'm going to add a second piece of interfacing to the fabric side, which is the canvas side. I don't have a fusible non-woven interfacing, medium weight or heavy weight either. So instead, I'm going to just heat set this on with glue, and I'm using Elmer's washable school glue, nothing special. Put it on the middle, and I'm going to heat set this down. And this is all going to get caught in stitching, so it really doesn't matter if it's temporary or permanent, because it's all going to be secured by stitches. Okay, see, now it's as if it was fused, but it's temporary, and that's fine. Okay. Okay, now I have my brim pieces and my side pieces just pinned together. I'm going to sew them with a 3/8 inch seam, and on using this 1/4 inch foot that I have on this machine, 1/4 inch is this inside edge, the outside edge is 3/8. So I'm just going to stitch and back tack 3/8 of an inch seam. And I'm just going to chain piece these together, and so you're going to end up with a tube. Okay, they're all four sets are sewn together. So now I'm going to remove the pins and press this open. So I want to press that open. Okay, now everything is pressed open. So on the lining side, as well as the fabric side, on the brim piece, I'm going to stay stitch 1/4 of an inch along the top edge of the brim. So 1/4 of an inch. Doesn't matter where I start. Okay, so now what you want to do here, where you have your notches, make that a little bit more pronounced of a notch, or mark it with a pen so that it's clear. I think this one is a little bit on the ravelly side, so I am going to mark it clearly on the wrong side with a friction marker where those notches are. Okay. I don't want any doubt. Then I'm going to take my scissor and I'm going to clip right up to that stitching line every about 1/2 an inch or so, all the way around. I'm going to cut some bulk back here, because that's where I'm going to sew next. Okay, now we're going to take our brim piece. Okay, and they're well marked. Okay, so on the lining, okay, the seams are going to go to the side. So you're going to put it right sides together, pin the top and the bottom first, and you could clip, either way. Probably be easier to clip this canvas. And right here, there it is, mark that. Okay, and the sides. So matching up these notches right here. And clip it. Usually I put the pin in at about the 3/8 inch mark. And then I start to go in between. So I'm going to start adding more and more clips and or pins. until I get all the way around. I'm going to go ahead and do this off camera because I like to get a little fiddly with it so that it's just right, and I will be right back. Okay, I have already pinned this all the way around. Okay, and then I'm going to take the crown side down, and I'm going to start sewing it probably, it doesn't matter really where you start. I'm going to start 3/8 in, and I'm going to go slow. Just take a couple stitches to anchor. Okay. Flatten everything out so that your seams are even. Right here at the edges right there. Go in a little closer. Okay, I'm making sure that it's even right there. Here's my 3/8 inch. Why is this not? There we go. Okay, taking the pins out, and you just give it a little tug as you're sewing, and you're sewing just inside that stay stitch line that you did. So if you're about 1/8 of an inch away from that stay stitch line, you're good. You don't want to create any pleats, especially on your outside fabric. It's no big deal if you have a couple pleats on your lining. See, now this is not even, so I'm going to pull this back a little bit and make them even. Alrighty, I just overstitched it. Okay, and I don't see any pleats. Yay. Okay. Alrighty, so now what we want to do is we want to lengthen the stitch a little bit to maybe 2.5 to 3. I'm going to start in the center back. I have to pick one for a back, so I'll just pick this one here for a back. Okay, I'm going to reach inside, and I want to edge stitch right along this brim line, but about 1/8 of an inch away. I want to make sure that all of the folds are going towards the bottom of the hat, so I need to keep checking. So I'm just finger pressing it and pulling the brim away from the crown, and I am just edge stitching along the seam line. It's going to want to flip up on you, so you need to keep checking it. Okay, now that I've finished both of the tops of the hats, I'm just going to set them aside, and now we're going to work on the brim for a little bit. So you're going to press open your side seams on your brim. You're going to match up the side seams, right sides together with the lining. I'm just going to clip, matching up the notches, although they should be just fine. You can put a few clips in between, it's up to you. This one is not so important. Okay, matching up the top and the bottom, the back and the front, and the two sides. And then we're just going to sew this. You could sew this anywhere between 1/2 inch and 1/4 inch, depending on how wide you want your brim to end up being. I like mine a little bit wider, so I am going to sew this at 1/4 inch all the way around. And I just want to put a few of these clips just to make sure it doesn't twist around. Okay. And now I'm just going to start at the one. It doesn't matter where you start. Okay, and I'm just going to sew 1/4 of an inch around. Make sure those are flat. Got it. Okay. I want to trim the seams right here like that, just to reduce some of the bulk. Okay, and then I'm going to start clipping about every inch right up to the line, right up to the stitching line, but not through it. This is going to make it turn a little easier. You want a good sharp pair of scissors. Now before I turn this, I just want to transfer some of these, oh, it's there, but I can't see it, the side seam where the side marking is, so I'm going to actually just going to take my pen, a chalk marker, and just make this a little deeper so I can see it. Okay. All right, now I'm going to turn this right sides out and give it a good press. So just turn it right side out, give it a good press. Okay, now I have it nice and pressed. When you're rolling the edge, if this is your lining, although this is completely reversible, so you want this right to be crisp along this edge. So we're going to edge stitch this. So I'm going to find the center back, which is right here. I'm just going to go ahead and mark this with a clip so that I know that's my center back. Okay, because I want to start stitching at the center back. I'm going to edge stitch this 1/8 of an inch out along the edge, and don't stick yourself with pins. I've got pins here just so that I can keep it from shifting, and then I'm going to stitch all the way around. And again, make your stitch length a little bit longer, like 2.5 to 3. And I am simply guiding through the center. So I want 1/8 of an inch all the way around. Okay. Now my brim is finished, and oh, look how cute it looks on the inside. You can see the stitching. That looks really nice. Okay, so now the next thing you want to do is need to make sure I know where my quarters are. So I'm going to take a pin and mark them. Okay, there's a seam, that's fine. So here's the back. Okay, I don't want to lose that because that's going to be important. Okay, so now the next thing I want to do is clip about 1/4 inch in all the way around, just like we did before with the brim. Okay, now I'm going to take my lining, and I want to match the back and the front, and I'm going to put these right sides together. Let's see, I'll probably turn it this way. Okay, where's my front and back? Got it marked here. So there it is right here. Okay, and then here's the back is here. Okay, or doesn't matter which is front and back. You pick one. Okay, so I'm going to put this lining right sides to right side. And I'm going to clip because this is too hard to pin. Okay, okay, and this is going to go inside. So we just sort of fold it in here. Put this right side to right side and clip this together just like we did before. Okay, and the side seam to the side seam. That'll work. Okay, and the other side seam. This goes on the inside. Actually, if you pin it with the brim side out, it's a lot easier. And you'll know when you don't have it clipped enough because it won't fit. So I will clip some of these a little bit deeper because they won't go. Just be careful not to clip the back too. Okay. And again, it's actually just an easy way to pin this. So you want to stretch that in. If this is too much to go all the way around, just do it in quadrants. Just stop and sew it, and then do some more. Stop and sew it. Don't want this to stress you out. Okay. Yeah, it's not enough. And I'll go ahead and do this off camera. Okay, now we're going to sew this together again with a 3/8 inch seam. So I'm just going to start at the back. Here we go. Oh, let me make that stitch length back to 2.5. And I'm going to be taking these clips out as I go along, making sure everything is nice and straight. Pin doesn't go in there. There we go. Okay, I'm going to finish sewing this off camera and I'll be right back. Okay, now you're going to take the outside of the hat and you're going to put it wrong sides right sides inside. You're going to take that brim, so this is the lining side. So you're going to take this side and you're going to essentially put these right sides together. So you're going to match up the back, then you're going to match up a side, and I'm going to clip it together just like we did the other side. And again, putting these in between. And again, I'm going to do this off camera because this I'm going to take time to just again sort of spread this out and fit this in just like before. Okay, and then I'm going to sew just on the inside, literally one thread on the inside of where I sewed the lining to the brim. And that way, but I'm going to, at the back of the hat, which is right here, I'm going to put a butterfly here. I'm going to leave an opening and not stitch about an inch and a half on either side of the center back. I'm going to leave that open, and then I'm going to sew literally just inside on the same line, literally right inside the stitching right there. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and pin this off camera. I'll be back. Okay, all pinned or clipped or whatever. Okay. And now I'm going to start sewing where I put that one butterfly pin. And I'm going to back tack here. I'm going to pull that pin out, stitch a little bit and back tack. Okay. And now I'm literally going to sew just on the inside of that last stitching line. Literally one thread in. And you just work this around, make sure you don't have anything folded in somewhere. What I like about clips is that you have to remove them. You can't sew by them at all. Okay, I've come to the other butterfly clip, so I'm going to back tack here. And there we go. Okay, now I'm going to pull the hat right sides out through that opening. And that will probably be the hardest part of all, because I have no grip strength at all. There, finally got it. That was a little stressful here. Okay, I finally got it turned. Okay, I got it turned. Needs a good pressing again, I know. So now what we're going to do is the opening that where we put it through, or where we pulled the fabric through. I'm just going to fold that under and match it up to the stitching. I'll put a few pins right here, and any threads, let me sweep them inside, some loose ends. Okay, now I'm going to stitch it. I'm going to put this under the machine, pull these back so both of them are nice. I might even do some pinning here, just so that it's easier to manage. So I'm pulling these up. all along. So I want, or I could also get an iron in here and press that up, because now I'm going to take an edge stitch here, right at the edge, and then my hat will be, that'll seal in the open ends, and it will be finished and ready to wear. Okay, so let me start stitching. Move this pin. Okay, and I'm going to turn this way just to make it easier for me. Again, I lengthen that stitch length because we're going to be top stitching, so about 2.5. I'm going to start over here, and I'm going to be tugging on both ends, both sides, inside and the out, lining in the top fabric as I stitch this in place. And just pull and pull. And just do a little at a time. Okay, and then I'm going to back to there. All done. I'm just going to give it a good press. I'm going to use my pressing ham to give that canvas a nice press, although that gives it a good boat look. All right, and let's see, where I didn't mark where the back was, but yeah, there you go. Absolutely gorgeous. Love it. Okay. Turn the back up, and yeah, I am chic. Okay, see you next time. Bye.